Good evening and welcome to Tribune Sports Live. I'm Zach Steele. He's Chris Yao. Chris, our area teams go 3-0 this week.
It was a big week for our guys. Hewitt-Trussville with another big win. I believe they won the region championship with that one. Clay with a nail biter, and Pinson gets a big win over at Center Point on homecoming. So great week for our guys.
Clay, another one of those nail biter kind of ball games for them. They've played several of those this year.
They have, and but they keep coming out on top. So I guess that's what you got to do.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Hewitt Huskies and their big victory up at Sparkman.
Trussville Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trussville Vision Care.
The Huskies traveled all the way up to Sparkman this past Friday night. A little bit of a slow start, Chris, but the Huskies got it rolling in the second half.
Just like they've kind of done all season, they just keep going on that roll, keep going. They had to fight a little bit in the first half. It was a close game at halftime, but Josh and his staff do a great job making adjustments offensively and defensively, and they put together a heck of a ball game to win the region.
So let's talk a little bit about the adjustments that they made. Rudy Griffin made a very good adjustment. They were really bothered by that zone read Sparkman was hitting the Huskies with, and they made some adjustments really midway through the second quarter, and the Sparkman offense didn't do much after that.
And that's a testament to the coaching staff and the way that they are coaching during the game. It's also a testament to the kids for taking to heart what the coaches are telling them to do and executing it on the field. Once you're able to do that, I feel like you're going to be tough to beat against anybody because they do such a good job of adjusting on the fly.
And let's give kudos to those players and those coaches, because this could have been a letdown game for them. Big win last week against Bob Jones, and coming into this one, long trip, long bus ride up to Sparkman, one of those games where you could easily have an upset, and the Huskies really turned it on in the second half.
Right, and Sparkman's not a bad football team, and I think that kind of showed in the first half, but it really showed in the second half how much better Hewitt really is than that team and just about everybody in this region.
Well, Hewitt's at home again Friday night as they take on Huntsville in another region matchup, a game they should win. When we come back, we're going to talk about Clay Chalkville. The Cardiac Cougars do it again.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trussville's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial family take care of your family.
The Clay Cougars, another nail biter against an improved Carver team in their victory Friday night, Chris, and you were there. Tell us a little bit about what you saw.
Honestly, you saw a fantastic first half, 4 touchdown passes from Willie Miller in the first half. The offense looked like it was on a roll. And the second half, it was almost the opposite of Hewitt. Carver came out, an athletic team. They got a quick score on the first drive with, they recovered a fumble, returned it for a touchdown. Once you give them some momentum, next thing you know, they've scored 20 unanswered and you're down 34-30. But let's give credit to Clay. They did a great job of keeping their composure. They did what they had to do to make all the adjustments they needed to make and to come out with a victory.
Well, you talked a little bit about the first half of that ball game. Maybe Clay loses focus a little bit in the second half, gives up some big plays to an athletic team that all they're asking for is just a little bit of momentum that can build on big plays. And that's really what happened. It was almost the perfect storm. And if not for a bad snap on a punt, this could have ended differently.
Oh, absolutely. And that snap, I talked to Jerry Hood about it after the game, and he told me that they'd been rushing from the left all night long to try to block the punt. So he said, let's swap it. So he rushes from the right and he puts a guy just in the A gap between the center and the guard. And he said, I think it just messed him up. And they rolled the snap back there. They knocked the punter out at the 13-yard line. Next thing you know, Clay's going in for a touchdown. And then, of course, just like they've done so many times this year, they get a pick to end the game. So, I mean, they did what they had to do, that one defensive play at the end of the game. But, you know, making those adjustments like we talked about, coaching, Jerry Hood really showed how good of a coach he really can be with that one.
Well, and they're going to need all the coaching they can get this coming Friday night as they travel to Minor. We'll break down that one a little bit more later on in the show. When we come back, we're going to talk about Pinson Valley and their big victory over Centerpoint.
Trussville Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trussville Vision Care.
Welcome back. Pinson Valley got an easy victory over Centerpoint this week, Chris.
They did a homecoming win over their Centerpoint. You know, again, we've covered Centerpoint so much, and it seems like every week we talk about this. They're so athletic, and they do make some great plays, but Pinson Valley just too much defensively and offensively for this team. Pinson Valley does such a good job every week finding that one playmaker to feed the ball to, and this week it was Kamel Shaverst, and he made them pay.
23 carries for 197 yards, 223 all-purpose yards in this one. He did everything.
He really did, and Kamel has been that workhorse all season long. We wrote about it in the Tribune, not long ago, how much he's been kind of the guy. Last year it was sort of Torrey Hendricks, but this year Kamel has really taken over, and he's been super in the backfield, taking that pressure off of Jackie Matthews and even Torrey. So without him, I feel like Pinson has a lot of trouble. So Kamel Shaverst has been the guy, and without him, I don't know that Pinson's anywhere near as good as they are.
They travel to Gardendale Friday night in a huge game that's going to have some playoff implications. We'll talk about that one a little bit later in the show. After the break, we're going to have our Players of the Week, and we're going to break down all these games with predictions.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trussville's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial family take care of your family.
Welcome back. It's time for our Players of the Week, and we'll start with Hewitt Trussville. Connor Adair has been doing it all season for the Huskies, and he's our Player of the Week this week.
Connor does a great job. Each and every week you give him more and more credit. I mean, just a couple weeks ago we were talking about how he does do this every week, and the kid really has grown up this year, and I'm really excited to see what he has going forward into the playoffs.
Well, he is such an accurate passer, and given it helps that he has great receivers to throw the ball to, but he puts it on the numbers every time, a lot of times under pressure. I'm tremendously impressed with this young man.
Absolutely. You can't say enough about Connor Adair and the importance he has to the Huskies.
So for Clay, we're going to give it to Nico Collins. He had a great ball game, especially in the first half against Carver.
He did. Had a 13-yard touchdown pass, and the first one was fantastic, man. I really hope that that's on the highlight film, because what you'll see is him take a screen pass for about 57 yards for a touchdown. He just outran the defense. It was a thing of beauty. I think he had more than 100 yards receiving in the game and a couple touchdown catches. So he was very important and probably the difference in the ball game.
And for Pinson, no surprise here.
No, Kamel Shavers with 223 all-purpose yards. You can't give it to anyone else. I mean, the guy's been a workhorse all season long. And what more can you say about him and that offensive line that puts him in a good position, because they do a really good job over there as well.
All right, well, let's get to predictions. We'll start with the easy one. Huntsville, 2-6, comes in to take on the juggernaut Hewitt Huskies at 8-0. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, the thought is, how many points is Hewitt going to score? I've got him at 56-14. I feel like this game shouldn't be a problem. Could possibly be a trap game, but probably not. I don't feel like that Hewitt's going to be looking forward to anything else. I think they've done a good job of taking it one game at a time.
Well, if Huntsville was capable of staying in this one, it could be a trap game. But looking at their scores this past season, I don't see them staying in this game. I see the Huskies getting 2 or 3 touchdowns very quickly, and Huntsville folding after that. I like Hewitt 55-10 in this one. All right, Clay at Minor. Big game. Playoff implications, really the region championship. If you get a Clay victory and then a Pinson victory, you've got a 3-way tie in first for that region.
Yes, the winner of this game is technically the region champion, despite, they're all number 1. They tie for the region championship. All 4 of the teams that we have this week will be the playoff teams. So really right now what we're fighting for is seeding. Unfortunately, even with a Clay win, they could end up on the road because of the tiebreakers. Unfortunately, though, I just don't think it's going to happen for the Cougars, and I think Minor's going to take this one because they have one of the best offenses that I've seen in the state this year. The one positive that I do see, though, is that Clay has seen these kids. They've seen them 3 years in a row, and last year they beat them 50-14. So Jerry Hood, again, being the coach that he is, could have that defense ready to play. But I'm still going to go Minor 49, Clay 40 in this one.
I'm going to do it to you again. Not so fast, my friend.
Last time it worked.
Last time it did work. Clay is still the champion.
They are.
And you got to knock off Muhammad Ali to knock off Muhammad Ali. I still think Clay has that mojo, that moxie, when they're going to walk into this game and they see themselves as, you know what, we're still the champs. You got to knock us off. And I think that moxie is going to be enough this week. I think Clay wins at 41-38. All right, Pinson at Gardendale, another big game. Playoff implications all over the place. Your thoughts on that one?
You're right. This is for seeding. This is, who's gonna be the number 4 seed basically. The loser of this game will likely be the 4 seed, and that's interesting to me. Nonetheless, I feel like Pinson's offense has really taken hold. They've done a good job. Jackie Matthews, Kamel Shavers, Torrey Hendricks, they've all, Lee Allen Daly even, they've all had a great year. Gardendale's a little banged up. And offensively, they just don't have what it takes, especially against that Pinson defensive line that I've lauded all year long. I feel like, I'm sorry, I didn't give you a score.
How bad? Score?
How about Pinson 27, Gardendale 20?
All right. I like Pinson in this one too. A little bit closer. I think Gardendale is going to fight to the bitter end here. They've had a lot of injuries, but I like Pinson in this one, 31-28. All right, that's our show. Let's hope our teams go 3-0 again this week. We'll be back next week to give you the recap and predictions for the future. Chris Yao, I'm Zach Steele. Good night, everybody.